Hi guys, so I thought I'd do a video on my Iridient Developer workflow from Lightroom, similar to the X Transformer. Just one little nuance to pay attention to, and that's how to save your generated TIFF once you're inside Iridient Developer. The difference between these two, Iridient Transformer, as you saw in my last video, simply takes the input file, the raw file, converts it to a DNG using Iridient Developer's engine to sharpen and do basic color treatment. So still better than what Lightroom does, but specifically just for transforming to DNGs. If you have Iridient Developer, this is a full what would you call it? I don't suppose you'd call it an editor. You're not really editing the image. It's Iridient's version of Camera Raw, so it is a color treatment, sharpness treatment, development module really. So just go into Lightroom quickly and grab an image. I've chosen this one to work on today just because I've never worked on it before and it looks interesting. So this is the ref image, the raw file. Here's the preview that's been generated in Lightroom of the file, and maybe, I'm doing this for the first time, so maybe we'll get to actually see them side by side and see the differences in sharpening from Adobe Camera Raw and Iridient's engine. Alright, so there you go, that's a 100% zoom of that preview. So what we're going to do is we're going to send this ref file, this raw file, out to Iridient Developer. So you go to Plugin Extras, and you go Iridient Developer. Now you choose your format. If you want the most color depth, you choose 16 bits per channel, but this can be a very big file. I don't really have an issue with file sizes and disk space, so I'm going to go for the highest resolution. You can work in JPEG or you can work in 8-bit TIFF as well. So let's go to TIFF 16 bits. The file now gets shipped out to Iridient Developer, and a basic treatment is loaded by default. Nothing gets done to the image other than the engine of Iridient Developer is opening the image and generating a preview. Here's our preview generation. Let's just wait for it to come through. Okie doke, so that's what Iridient has now developed as an image preview from the same raw file. As I say, it's not really an editor, but here are your tone and color and curves and detail palettes. Let's do 100% zoom over here. Let's wait for it to generate the 100% zoom. I think for sake of the exercise, perhaps I'm not going to do anything else at this point. I'm just going to send this file straight back to Lightroom. Okay, so stick with me. Here's the file that we opened. Then we sent it out through Plugin Extras as a 16-bit TIFF to Iridient Developer. And in Iridient Developer, the file was opened up and processed with all the defaults. I haven't changed anything. And now we're going to send it back to Lightroom. So what you do is you click on Process Image and Overwrite, because you'll be overwriting the TIFF that is generated. If you look in Lightroom at the top here, you'll see it's in a paused state. It's in limbo. It's saying editing in Iridient Developer. And if you click on that, it'll tell you save in Iridient with Command Option E. Which is the same as going File, Process Image and Overwrite. So let's do that. It's now getting sent to the job queue, which is the batch processor for Iridient, generating a TIFF, and it's sending that TIFF back to Lightroom. So let's just wait for it to come through. Here's our image. We should see the other image come through next to it. It'll be stacked automatically. See how far this guy is. Core processing, interpolating, all these things. And then let's do a quick A/B, and you'll see the difference in color saturation, color depth, tonal range, and sharpness without changing any options. And there are some incredible options to work with. Okay, here it comes. So let's wait for it to populate. Status bar is nearly done. I would skip ahead and do a cut, but you guys are patient. Okay, cool. So there's the raw file. Turn off the raw only filter that I had running. So now we have the TIFF file next to the raw file. Okay, See, the RAF, that's the one that Adobe was working with. Here's the TIFF, the one that Iridient developed. If I select both and I push the N on the keyboard, I'll get into survey mode and I'll be able to do an A-B comparison. Now you can see already that there is a lot of difference. Okay, so this is the RAF file and this is the TIFF from Iridient. Okay, going between the two, you can see there's a lot of color difference as well. So very different files. You can see that the RAF file has got all of the lens corrections applied. Or is it the other way around? Which one would have the lens corrections applied? I don't actually know. Which one looks like distortion to you guys? Okay, doesn't matter. You're getting two very different files. Let's just go and have a look at the sharpening. So this is the Adobe file. This is the sharpening that Adobe applies by default. That is the Iridient file. Maybe if we just focus on this text over here. See how soft that is when it's generated by Adobe. See how much sharper it is. There's a lot more micro contrast being pulled out of the raw file. Even the color difference, what would you call it? The color separation, the color contrast, and the sharpness of the lines here. Just loading the defaults from Iridient, in my opinion. Look at the rocks up here. You're getting a much, much sharper, much nicer photograph. Anyway, I was really just trying to show you the round trip. So I'll do it once more with another image. Let's take this guy just because. Okay, that's a JPEG. That's not going to work. Let's put my filter back on. I've got a filter here that says RAF only. And let's grab this one. Okay, so that's the raw file. We're going to send it up and out to Iridient. Let's do a JPEG this time just because. Edit in raw in Iridient Developer, JPEG. It comes through and it generates a preview from the RAF file. It'll always work from the raw file, but it'll generate a JPEG when it's done exporting. Let's wait for it to generate that preview. Here it comes. Okay, great. All right, so you can see totally different color depth, different dynamic range, and you will notice, I think quite easily, that the Adobe file does look less contrasty for one thing, but that's because we've done nothing to this image yet. I like application interfaces that kind of guide you so that you can see all these faders are center aligned. There's no reason to believe that everything should be center aligned, but if you watch this guy's jacket here, if I bring the shadows up to center aligned, look how much shadow recovery I'm getting. Let's just zoom in quickly and see what the noise levels are like. I expect very good noise levels. Okay, let's go and look at Lightroom quickly. Let's zoom into the same spot. Let's let this preview generate quickly. Nearly there. I'm going to have to learn how to jump cut this stuff. Otherwise, you guys are just going to be waiting for images to preview the whole time. Apparently Lightroom 7.2 is going to be a lot quicker. They're busy reviewing it at the moment. There are 2 reviews on the web, one at F-Stoppers, one at DP Review, I think. And this is Lightroom 7.1, currently the latest version, but 7.2 is coming out and it's a lot quicker apparently. So yeah, there's quite a bit of noise here in the shadows. It's very, very soft around the edges. Look at the difference here with Iridient. Just with the default settings, raising the shadows, getting a lot more color depth coming through the shadows in Iridient. You're getting this very mulchy, grayish color coming out of Adobe Camera Raw. Okay, and then same situation, go File, Process Image, and Overwrite, which now round trips this image back as a JPEG. So remember, just like last time, I need to turn off my RAF filter. Okay, and now we will see the JPEG come up next to that raw file now. There you go, it's generating iridient.jpg because we selected that as the destination format. Nearly there, interpolating image. Core processing. I actually know what these things are, but I'm not going to talk about them now. I already think I've gone over time. I want to do short videos, guys. I intend to do 2-minute, 5-minute videos. I think there's a good chance we're up to like 8-10 minutes already, so sorry about that. Color matching, sharpening. The sharpening and noise reduction are the defaults. exactly the same as Adobe Camera Raw has defaults. Iridient also has defaults. I just find the defaults very usable and very pleasant. How are we doing? We're done. Okay, great. So there we go. There's our raw file. And here's our JPEG. So let's just do that preview again, the survey. So select both images, push N for survey. I'm just going to push tab to hide these panels on the sides. You notice I've got a nice wide screen. Right, okay, so here is the Iridient file. I can tell already because we've got nice color depth in the shadows. And here is the Adobe file. Not as much nice color saturation in the shadows. Also the greens and the grass in the Iridient file are nice in yellow and green, and quite muted and dull in the Adobe file. Yep, and I was right. There you go. So that was the JPEG. Alright guys, I hope that's helpful. That's round tripping from Lightroom to Iridient Developer as opposed to Iridient X Transformer. Very different applications, much more control with Developer. If you're looking for something to really maximize the information coming off your Fuji X-Trans sensor, then you want to get Iridient Developer, not just Iridient X Transformer. Sorry it's been long-winded. Hope it's helpful. Catch you later. Bye.